Hello everyone, this is Helios Raven. I tell you how I do it, even if you don't care. And we're now going to do a quick overview of both the Chaos Forces and the Imperial Navy Forces. I apologize for not doing something like this sooner. I went over my Chaos videos again and noticed that I wasn't doing a really good job at describing what makes these ships, what makes this army more different from the Imperial Navy and vice versa. And I do apologize for this. Like I said, this is my first time doing these kinds of videos, so I'm still learning the ropes a little bit. And I did ask for help from the Fortress Monastery, who's a lot better at doing these types of videos than I am, and he just blatantly ignored my request, so kind of working here on my own, so let's see. I'll try and do better in the future. Now, let's do an overview of the Chaos Forces. Chaos Forces in general are really great in laying down firepower. They mostly consist of weapon batteries and some ordnance with very few lances on a lot of their ships, which is a good and a bad thing. It's good in the fact that when they get really close, they can really wail on any vessel that they get their sights on. Downside is they don't have enough long-range capability to do very well in the long-range category. The weapon batteries themselves really only get their maximum potential when you're within 15 centimeters of the vessel you're firing upon, which isn't really what you want to do, especially since the Chaos Forces have weaker armor. Granted, they're not the weakest ships in the fleet in the sector, but they aren't as well protected as the Imperial Navy is, so it's a little bit easier to damage Chaos vessels. But they are still pretty tough customers to handle, and when they sink their teeth in, they really dig in deep and they don't let go. They also, I think, one of the best additions to them is adding Space Marines to them as crews, because it adds a lot to their boarding actions and vessels and gives them bonuses to their leadership, and plus it allows for more vessels to get Marks of Chaos, which is a lot cheaper than putting a bunch of Chaos War Masters in all of your capital ships, which is one good thing. And all in all, Chaos Force is really great for someone who wants to be a very heavily aggressive, in-your-face type of army, where there's no holds bar. You get right up there and you just lay down unrelenting until your enemy is down and not getting back up ever again. And in that regard, they also have some pretty powerful tech. They have the Blackstone Fortress, and they do have the Planet Killer, which is one of the most powerful battleships in the game, and for good reason, since it does have stuff like the Armageddon gun. And again, if you're doing like again though, that one's really meant for really large, grand scale forces. Like if you're only a couple of points over 1,000 points or so, I wouldn't bother with the Planet Killer itself. But if you're doing some really large, grandioso, like a 1,500 point army, then definitely Planet Killer all the way. Abaddon himself is pretty nice, but again, unless you plan to give him the Chaos Space Marine crew on top of him, I don't think he's really that great as a fleet commander for what he gives you, especially since he will just go and blow up his own ships if you have a really, really bad luck of the dice rolls. And I don't kind of like that. Like, granted, I do believe in the, you gotta have fate and you can't be scared to take a chance, but that's just something I don't want to end up having to deal with. And so, all in all, Chaos Forces are really great if you want to be more in your face, right up there next to your vessel, and really just pelting away with dice upon dice, because that's where they excel at. Now, the Imperial Navy, where its biggest pro is it's heavily armed. They have armor 6 on most of their vessels, pretty decent number of shields, and they have a lot of lance batteries, so they can bring the fight to the enemy before they get even close to them, which is also always a really good thing to soften them up with long-range weaponry that only needs 4 or higher to hit. And they also do have their ships with their weapon batteries. That's one of the best things about the Imperial Navy, is they have a lot of diversity within their forces. There's practically there are different combinations of vehicles you can do to get any different kind of vehicle combination, and work out any type of strategy you may decide you want to go with your force. So on that note, Imperial Navy, I think, is one of the more customizable forces than any other one out there. They do lack some of the special rules and some of the more specialized rules that Chaos has, but they make it up with having sheer amounts of firepower, variability, and the fact that they can attack vessels from long range. Though they do have to spend 5 extra points to get their assault boats, which is again another example of Chaos being more of a close combat army, since they get the assault boats for free. And a lot less, and no wait, sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but all in all, like I said, Imperial Guard hits can take a lot of damage and keep on going, and can stay in the and can get into the fight a lot quicker, since they have a lot of long range lance batteries, whereas Chaos does have a lot of, as we said, I mentioned a lot of 60 centimeter ranges with Chaos. The problem is at that range, they don't roll as many dice as the Imperial Guard would, since most of their weapons are weapon batteries, which lose dice as they get further away from the vessel they're attacking. So, all in all, between the two of them, like, if you're fighting against Chaos, you'd want to stay as far away from them as possible to avoid getting into close range with their weaponry where they would excel at. Whereas with the Imperial Guard, you'd want to get in close to their ships a lot, because they don't have as many weapon batteries as the Chaos forces do, which makes them very vulnerable to boarding actions and weapon bombardments, since whereas Chaos, one ship can almost equal the firepower that 2 Imperial Guard vessels have combined. So that's basically it for the Imperial Navy and the Chaos forces. Oh, one other big thing is also, the Imperial Navy is also allowed to use the Blackstone Fortress, which gives them an equal playing field. When you notice that the Chaos forces is bringing out a Blackstone Fortress, you know at least you have something that's as equal to, and something that can compete against the Planet Killer if you decide to go that big of a force. And okay, that is officially everything that I want to say on both forces. We're concluding now the forces of Chaos and the Imperial Navy, and next week we're going to look into the forces of Eldar, my personal favorite army out of the entire fleet. So, until next time, this is Helios Raven, signing off.